something that just bothers me, and it's been bothering me for a long time, and I just have wanted to sort of articulate my thoughts on this. And my thoughts are basically, should you be paying me for my thoughts? If I said to you, hey, I don't want to get something off my chest, I want to tell you something, and I want you to pay me to hear me, you probably wouldn't do that if you're in your right mind, would you? I mean, yes, there are certain circumstances where you would say, I'll pay you for your opinion because you're my psychiatrist, or I'll pay you for your opinion because you're a motivational speaker, or what have you. There are time, and as they say, there is a time and place for everything, right? So, but in general, we don't go around and bully people and say, hey, I'm going to tell you something and you're going to pay me for it. Except when it comes to some iconic performers, or hell, any performer who gets up on a stage, they charge you for tickets first, and they tell you they're gonna do one thing, and then they do another, which is preach their politics. Um, and that's what I want to talk about. It is very irritating to a lot of people who are sound of mind. Um, and that is not what I do. You see the difference? Do you I talked about the operation of YouTube recently, and Google, and how you monetize things and how all that works. But now let's talk about this. Do you understand the difference between a rock star, or an actor, a famous actor, and someone like me who creates content and has an opinion? You can do both, and you can share your opinion as long as you're not charging people for something else. That's bait and switch. That's very simple. And we used to be a simpler kind of people back in the day. Back when I was growing up, things were a little more cut and dried and a little more understood, and people had a little more dignity, and they just were more sober thinking, you know. But now it's just kind of anything goes, and I think we're at that tilt of the pendulum where that's just the way it is right now. But yeah, you should not have to pay for my opinion. So you get it for free on here, on this format. You're looking at ads. You know, Google or YouTube exposes you to ads, as I have explained earlier. I have nothing to do with that. They just pay me a portion of that. I don't know what the content, I don't know what the ads are going to be, and as I've said earlier, they're not going to be indecent per se, because they don't even allow that on the platform. But it's not my opinion. And I've said this before. Joe the plumber comes to your house. You're paying him to fix your plumbing, and then he starts spouting his politics or his views on life, and he doesn't ask you first, hey, may I share something political with you? Do you mind? He should, right? If you're paying them for one thing and they're giving you something else that you haven't solicited them for. Yeah. So let's make something clear right now. There are dirt bags in all walks of life. Please, if you are, stop just worshiping people because of a certain status. Don't do that. There are evil priests, very bad Marines, there are bad cops, I'll even go as far as to say pedophile firemen, you know? There are bad people in church. There are bad people in temples and synagogues. There are also good people in all those walks of life. Remember that. That is very important that you remember that. Don't be a blind follower. A uniform does not make the man. You know, we should judge people by their merits, by the content of their character, not by a uniform they wear or the fact that they have a lot of talent. Talent does not make you a good person. Knowledge does not make you a good person. Wearing a robe and carrying a staff does not make you a good person. It's your behavior. It's the content of your character. That is what makes you a good person. This is really, really important. And once you start to get that, then you are a person of a more discerning nature and a little bit wiser. Okay? So yeah, all I really wanted to say is you're not paying me for my opinion. I'm sharing my opinion. Take it or leave it. Glean what works for you. Leave what doesn't. And if you ever pay for a ticket to a concert and you're paying these celebrities for their vocal talent or musical instrument talents, demand that they do that for you. Yes, they are kind of your dancing monkey. You paid for that. You didn't pay to hear them blathering about something that goes contrary to your beliefs. So demand your money back if they do otherwise, or stand up and holler and say, "This is not what we came for." You know, they get very irritated when you do that because you're being fair and honest and they're not. Don't let them gaslight you. Don't let them make you think that you're somehow bad for demanding receipt of what you've paid for. I guess that I should be really addressing this to the icons, the pop icons and the movie stars. That is to say, remember who you are and remember what you're paid for, okay? I know so many of you totally understand what I'm saying, and some of you haven't really thought of it, but those of you who do, you understand that these movie stars, that's a luxury afforded to them by us buying tickets and DVDs and just downloading and streaming the content that they've created. They've got a talent, and we've paid them for it, and they are engaged in make-believe. They live in the world of make-believe. Those are not the people. The make-believe people are not the people that I want my political cues from, or ideals or ideas. Those are people who are in a world of fantasy, and they create a world of fantasy. So in fact, those would be the last people I would trust to bring to me my reality. You know, I'm in a different reality. You're in a different reality than they are. I'm not part of this elite jet-setting class that can tell you one thing and do another, and you know we're different than that, right? And so it doesn't make any sense for them to be telling you how to live your lives. Otherwise, they should choose a different profession. Those professions like the clergy or psychiatry or motivational speaking, not make-believe, because you have no ground to stand on when you are in the world of fantasy, right? And so what's backing up your opinion when you're a big movie star? You're Leonardo DiCaprio. What's behind your opinion? Have you spent years and years in academy learning the finer points and honing your political knowledge and knowledge of the Constitution, of history, and all these things, or do you mainly indulge in fantasy and create fantasy? It's usually one or the other. The people that I want to hear from are when I go to learn about politics or history, would be historians, scholars, attorneys. You know, people who really have spent their lives gaining knowledge about those things. Not some guy or some girl who makes $10 million a flick and then flies off to Cannes to watch himself on the screen and drink champagne and then, fly back on their private jet and tell us about, our carbon footprints and how they buy carbon credits. Well, I can't afford carbon credits, and I'm not flying off to Cannes. It's just, you know who you are. Stop it. Do what you do. Stay in your lane. Okay. I was just, this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I know that I do tend to ramble, and I appreciate your patience and interest in the mundane things that I might have to say. All right, as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I guess it helps the channel, and as long as you're listening, I'll keep talking. I'll make more. Okay? Bye.